end of a session, and honestly, probably end of an era. What up, Poker Fam? We are back here again at Choctaw Resort and Casino. I gotta say, I really like this spot. It's the closest thing to kind of a Vegas feel. So we're actually waiting to get on the 1-2 table. They're actually back to playing 9-handed now, but we'll see. We'll get in there, go in there with some positivity and see if we can get a W.
First hand of vlog number 10 underway. We have King 10 offsuit and we are in the low jack position. After it folds to us, we decide to bump it up to $10. We get a call from the hijack as well as the small blind. So we're going to go 3 ways to a flop. The flop comes out ace, queen, queen with 2 hearts and 1 spade. So not too bad of a board for us. We do have a gut shot and we are the lead aggressor, so we want to see what our opponents do. Small blind decides to check to us, I decide to check, and so does the hijack. We're going to get to see our free turn card, and the turn rewards us with the jack of spades. So we hit our gin card, we now have the ace high straight. However, there are 2 flush draws on the board, so we're going to decide to lead out here. Small blind checks to us, and we lead for $15, about a half pot size bet. Hijack decides to fold, and so does the small blind. So we scoop a $30 pot. Alrighty, on to the next hand. By now, you must be wondering why in the world is everyone wearing a sweater? I mean, it does get cold in poker rooms, especially at casinos, but in the middle of July, everyone with a sweater on? Well, there's a reason behind that. I actually was going through my footage, my content, to decide what vlog I was going to put out next, and I came across this content, and I realized that I never did put out this footage and create a vlog for you guys. This content is actually from late March, hence the sweaters. But regardless, what kind of vlogger am I not putting out all the content that I create for you fine people out there, my viewers? I apologize. Better late than never, right? Anyways, as mentioned in the title, this is an end of an era, and I'll explain why later on. Let's get back into the hand. We have King 8 of diamonds and we're in the cutoff position. It limps all the way to me and I decide to make the limp. I know, I should be raising here. Shame on me. We're gonna go 8 ways to the flop. The flop comes out Queen 4 5 with 2 diamonds. Yep, now I wish I had raised. So checks all the way around to me and I decide to go ahead and lead out for $10. I'm gonna start building a pot. I got the second nut flush draw as well as an overcard, and there are a lot of turn cards that can really improve our hand. We get a call from the button as well as the under the gun position. 3 ways now to the turn. The turn comes out the 3 of spades. This is actually a pretty bad card for us in the fact that now the board's a lot more coordinated. If ace deuce hands can get there, 7-6 could get there, especially since everyone limped into the pot pre. That's definitely a possibility. Under the gun checks, I decide to check as well, and so does the button. So we're still going 3 ways to the river, and the river comes the 3 of diamonds. So it does give us the king high flush. However, the board is now paired, so we're losing to any sets now. But I want to put a bet out after the under the gun checks to me to see where I'm at. I lead for $15. Button thinks for a little bit and slides his cards in. He folds. Under the gun looks like he was about to fold, but then he makes the call. We show our king high flush and we're good. He mucks his hand and we go ahead and scoop this pot. On to the next hand. Next hand of note, we have pocket eights in the under the gun 1 position. After it folds to us, we decide to bump it up to $10. Everyone's playing fairly passive, so I'm definitely going to start raising these type of hands. And the only opponent to make the call is on my left in the middle position. So we're going to go heads up to a flop. Flop comes out fairly well for us, 6-5-4 rainbow, so we have a gut shot to the straight. We do have an overpair as well, so after leading out for $10 again, my opponent makes the call. So still heads up to the turn. Turn comes out the 2 of hearts. So now a flush draw hits the board. So now we're going to make the same bet of $10, trying to get some kind of money in the pot, and my opponent pretty quickly folds right after. So nothing too eventful here, but we do scoop a little $30 pot. Alright, on to the next hand. Alrighty, next hand of note, we have 9-8 of spades in the hijack position. Under the gun leads out for $10. Under the gun 1 makes the call, and we decide to go ahead and come along as well. We got a pretty suited connector. Cutoff decides to make the call, and so does the small blind. Big blind folds, so we're going to go 5 ways to the flop. The flop comes out fairly well for us. Jack 10-4 rainbow. So we have an open-ended straight draw here. Under the gun and under the gun +1 check to me. I decide to check as well. This is actually a mistake on my part. I should be leading out here with all my draws, but as played, I make the check. Everyone else checks behind. Still going 5 ways to the turn. The turn comes out the 6 of diamonds, so it does put a flush draw on the board now. Under the gun is a thinking player. That's one thing I was able to learn about him. He took his time arranging his chips and decides to put out a bet for $25. So interesting move here, because he let out pre, checked the flop, and now leads again on the turn. So I'm putting him on some kind of premium, maybe an overpair, aces or kings. Under the gun makes the call. We decide to go ahead and come along as well, and so does the small blind. So now we're going 4 ways to the river. The river brings no help. It's the 4 of diamonds, so we break out all the way. Under the gun this time decides to check. Under the gun +1 checks. I go ahead and check. I feel this was a mistake. I feel like I could have easily bluffed here. However, because there's so many opponents in the hand, I don't know if I would have been able to get it through. I'd like to get your opinion on this. Comment down below. Do you think I should have bluffed here? Should I win for it? Maybe a shove? Let me know. By the way, our opponent shows down pocket aces, so he indeed had an overpair. Alright, next hand here we have Queen Jack offsuit, and we are in the cutoff. Everyone's playing fairly passive and straightforward, so we decide to open up our range a bit, and after it limps to us, we lead out for $10. We get a call from the button, small blind, and the middle position play. We're going to go 4 ways to a flop. The flop comes out Jack 4-5 with 2 diamonds. So we had top pair with a decent kicker. We also do have a backdoor flush draw as well. So after it checks to us, we decide to go ahead and lead out for $15. We want to charge draws and also any middling pairs. However, button, small blind decide to fold. At one point I thought middle position was going to make the call, but indeed he decides on a fold. So we go ahead and scoop this little pot. May not be the most glamorous pot, however, if you scoop these pots over a period of time, you're definitely going to come up ahead in your sessions. Alright, on to the final hand of the vlog. Alright, final hand of vlog number 10. We have pocket 8s and we are in the hijack position. Everyone limps to us, and as mentioned earlier, everyone's playing fairly passive, so we're definitely going to take advantage of this. And we lead out for $10. The cutoff decides to make the call. Folds all the way to the big blind, who decides to call as well, and so does under the gun. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. And the flop comes out pretty ideal for us. It is Queen Jack 8 with 2 clubs. So we hit our set. Let's go. We're going to make this happen, build this pot up. However, the board is fairly coordinated. There is a 2-liner to a straight with 10-9. And there are 2 clubs, so the flush draw is out there as well. So we have to play this a little cautiously. Big blind decides to check. Under the gun decides to put a bet out of $30. Interesting bet, because he was willing to limp pre and just call the $10. So I'm curious what he's betting out here with. I decide with a call instead of a raise. I want to play this a little cautiously and evaluate a turn. Also, I'm hoping with me just calling, this will entice the other opponents to come along as well. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Both cutoff and big blind decide to make the fold. So we're going to go heads up to a turn. The turn comes out the 5 of diamonds, so now it does put 2 flush draws out on the board. And once again, my opponent leads out for $35 this time. So not much more than the previous bet. I think our opponent puts us on some type of 2 pair or maybe even a draw. So I contemplate for a bit and decide with just a call. If my opponent's bluffing, I want to let him continue to do so, especially if we get a clean river. Which we do not. The river comes out probably one of the worst river cards ever. It's the 9 of diamonds. So not only does it put a one-liner to a straight with any 10, the backdoor flush draw just got there. To make matters worse, my opponent puts out $35, so the same initial bet on the turn. At first, this bet looked kind of scary, not gonna lie. It seemed like he was just trying to milk me for some kind of value. However, I started to think it through. It just didn't make sense. His story was not believable. I started to think the process of what he took, pre-flop, flop, turn, and then now here on the river. And also on top of that, I'm getting a really good price to make this call to see what he could possibly have. So after some contemplating and looking at my cards and thinking it through, I decide on the hero call. Our opponent flips over pocket kings, so a very interesting way for him to play kings. We scoop this pot. I'm surprised that he only called $10 as opposed to 3-betting pre-flop. Anyways, as we're scooping this pot, the floor manager actually walks over to us and says, "Hey man, you gotta stop recording." So that's the end of this session. Bummer, huh?
So apparently, I was told to stop recording when I was on the table. I knew it was only a matter of time, honestly, but I was hoping I was able to get the rest of the hands in the game for $300, out for $575. Like I said, end of an era. Can't record here anymore, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna remember who I am. So Choctaw, I love this place. It's an amazing resort, amazing casino, clean spot. But I'm not gonna lie, a little disappointed that I'm not gonna be able to vlog anymore. So what up, YouTube? It's time for the special announcement. As mentioned in the beginning of the vlog, I've been in conversation with some poker bloggers out in the California area, and they've actually invited me out to a vloggers game. So this is gonna be super awesome for the channel. Our first ever vloggers meetup game. We're heading out to Sacramento, California at Capo Casino. This will be held on July 24th. I look forward to meeting some really cool people, getting some really great conversations, maybe even sharing a drink or two, and scooping some really big pots. Let's go. So it's gonna be really cool to branch out, spread our brand a little bit, and meet some really cool people. We're gonna bring a little brand of Texas out there, show them what's up. So I'm excited, I'm pumped up, I'm ready to go. Speaking of branding, I've actually been in conversation with my executive producer, you know who you are, and some fellow colleagues of mine as well. And I've decided to do a little rebranding. Once I have all the details worked out and everything's in fine print, I'll let you guys know as soon as I know. I'll hold that information for the next vlog, so definitely hit the notification bell so you'll be informed of when my vlog comes out, as well as give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and while you're at it, if you don't mind, please subscribe. I truly appreciate it. That ends the vlog. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night and have fun on the felt. Peace.